Well, thank you everybody once again for joining us today. We truly appreciate your time and of course your dedication to RTI's brand and method of offering clients the ultimate and custom control capabilities. We're going to kick today off, stepping up with integration design from an integration designer 9 to 10, and we're going to cover a number of different topics today. And just in quick summary, really what we want to do is make sure you have a fundamental understanding of why you need to upgrade to Integration Designer 11. Some of the common questions that are going to come up that you may have or may not have thought of yet. And we want to address those. And of course, I want to make sure that you're aware of the new features that we're going to be that Integration Designer offers you over Integration Designer 9. This session is truly designed to provide you a look at those new features and how they speed up programming within Integration Designer. We don't have time, unfortunately, to be able to do a side-by-side comparison of, how would we resize a bitmap in Integration Designer 9 versus how you can do it in 11. We don't have time to do all of that, unfortunately, in this allotted time because there's so many new features. But that being said, we are looking to put together a training that will be on RTI Excel in the future that would do something of that sort. So if you're more of a visual and you want to see that side by side, that will be coming in the future. No exact ETA on that. I apologize. I wish I had an ETA on that, but we will put something like that together for you. It's a very time. It takes a lot of time to go over that because, as you know, there's a lot of steps in Integration Designer 9, and many of you have mastered at this point and are easy, and it just flows naturally to you. And for which Integration Designer 11 actually will take a lot of that extra work out of it for you. So I want to make sure that you have a good understanding of it. But today we'll go through some of those new features and we'll show you exactly what the benefits are of Integration Designer 11. As I said before, my name is Tyler Nelson. I am the National Training Manager for RTI. With me, as introduced before, is Vincent Bova, our Director of Dealer Experience. And he'll be walking us through how to navigate those changes within Integration Designer 11. We also have Jim Koenig as a panelist to help answer any questions that you may have, now or after the call. But of course, the entire field sales team is available for you. So depending on your region or your location, wherever in the world, please make sure to reach out to them. They're all well-versed in Integration Designer 9 and 11, and they can help you navigate any projects that you currently have, or even further, just help further along your education. The one thing I will say in regards to learning Integration Designer 11 over 9 is give yourself a break. It will take you a little bit of time. It's adapting your programming mindset, and that's not always an easy thing to do, but we'll cover what that looks like here in just a minute. As always, we will have a question and answer section in the session. We can make sure that we will record this session as well, so that I'm going to say by tomorrow, if not later today, we'll have it posted on the RTI training site under the training videos for your viewing pleasure. Let's kick this off. Let's have a little fun here. Before we get to the nitty-gritty details of what those features are, you need to understand that Integration Designer 11 is that next evolutionary step in Integration Designer. So there was never a break, right? We went from Integration Designer 9, which was inducted into the CDA Product Hall of Fame, and it had a great lifespan, went through 9 different iterations, and then it went through the 10th iteration, otherwise known as Apex. But that was actually Integration Designer 10, and it was a major change. And now we've adapted it to Integration Designer 11, and it's evolved. It's including features that have built up over time and provides you our most powerful software platform to date that's capable of handling any size and scope project that you have. So you need to upgrade today to Integration Designer 11. Now, that being said, let's talk about some of the common questions. Can I run Integration Designer 9 and 11 on my computer together? The answer is yes, you absolutely can. You can have both an ID 9 and ID 11 on your computer. Here's the caveat to this. I want you to make sure that you are using Integration Designer 9 only for maintenance of those older projects. I want you to start using Integration Designer 11 to start programming new projects. But is there a steep learning curve? No, there's really not. But like I said before, you're going to need to adjust your programming mindset, your thinking. Since the concepts built within Integration Designer 9 still apply, but they may be executed a little bit differently. They may be placed in a different location, and the flow of which the programming happens might change based on that and how you get through things. So we are creating numerous trainings, and I'll talk about that in a minute, that will help you adjust that mindset. But like I said, give yourself a break. It will take a little bit of time, but we will have a ton of resources for you. So can I convert my ID9 projects to ID11? Unfortunately, no, you can't. And here's the reason. The file format for which Integration Designer 9 projects are created in will only work up until that, only for that platform. There are so many new advances within the back end of the software that we're not able to change over those features, those programming aspects into Integration Designer 11. The other one, do I need to update equipment firmware when using Integration Designer 11? Yes, yes, yes. As you all are well aware, you always want to have the latest firmware on all of your devices, but it's even more important now when you start programming with Integration Designer 11 because of all these new features. When you start using Integration Designer 11 for these new projects, make sure all your equipment is updated with firmware. Do you have to upgrade? I've heard this one a lot. Do I have to do this? No, like I said, you can have both on your computer right now, but new hardware and drivers are starting to be written for Integration Designer 11 platform alone. And eventually, support for the software will be discontinued completely. Now, as I mentioned before, there is going, there will be a learning curve, there will be a time frame. Does RTI have any resources to help me? Well, it's funny you should ask. We're creating them as we speak. There's on the dealer website, there is a dedicated Integration Designer page, as many of you know. And on that page, we are providing links to things like FAQs, the direct link to the training for it. We're creating new webinars daily for it. Like this one here, we're recording sessions, which is why Vincent and Jim are up here in headquarters this week. We're doing a full boat training video segments this week on all things Integration Designer 11. So that, to help you with this adaptation, to help you with this evolution to the fastest custom install programming software we've ever created. We're recording sessions. We're going to do live sessions. So we want to make sure that you have all of the tools necessary to help with your success. Our goal is to make you successful. The best way we can do it is provide you as many resources as possible. So stay tuned for more of those trainings that'll come up live online, as well as the RTI Excel modules that are being posted. So there are tons of features. The evolution of this Integration Designer 9 to 11, it makes it our most powerful programming software platform to date. The overwhelming number of time-saving features and the elegant new template helps create just an incredible user experience for your clients, but it also assists in the generation of numerous new referral sales that will come your way all the time, saving you time and money of the programming labor costs that go involved. So the time is now, folks. Download Integration Designer 11, begin programming with it today. Now, I could go through and talk about each one of the bullet points of each one of these Integration Designer 9 to 11 features, and it sounds about as thrilling as watching grass grow. But I want to turn it over to our master of multi-room, the maestro of macros, Mr. Vincent Bola. He's going to walk you through some of these awesome new features. So Vincent, my friend, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Thanks, Tyler. Thanks for that really eloquent introduction too. I'll pay you for that later. Hello, everyone. My name is Vincent, Dealer Experience, RTI. Today, we're going to just do a side-by-side comparison of ID11, but unfortunately, I'm not going to show ID9 in this webinar. I'm just going to explain the differences and what the kind of things that I always had trouble with in ID9, and now what I really enjoy in ID11. And I understand that going from a black belt in ID9 to learning something new is always a tough thing. But I'll tell you right now, your business will be in a better position in 6 months from today. I guarantee it. I am so excited for guys that have that revelation and learning ID11. And hey, look, ID9 was a great piece of software. So let's get going. Let's not waste any more time. First feature of ID11 that compares to ID9 is that there's an auto update function in ID11. Yes, if you open the software, it'll tell you, hey, you have to update this. There's also on the help area a place where you could actually check for updates. Now, there's an extension to that. When we open an ID9 project, we don't know anything. We don't know if if our software is out of date, if any drivers are out of date, if any firmware is out of date. uh, Integration Designer 11 will tell you all of that. For example, if I click on a driver, I have the ability now to do lots of different things. I can go to the driver store directly, or I can see all the files here, but it also tell me update available in big letters. I don't have that to show you here. I wish I did, but it does do it. Take my word for it. So having that live interaction with the RTI cloud is just an incredible feature, and it goes beyond that. So let's move on to point two. ID11 is a 64-bit application. ID9 is not. What that means is when you go to your communication tab and you compile your project, you're going to see it compiling one piece at a time. So we have those big projects where we're, programming like 100 rooms. The system takes a while to compile, and you can't do anything in the meantime. In ID11, it'll compile everything at once, and the stuff that's ready will show up. So it'll tell you, okay, you can update the controller while the processor's still compiling, and it's much faster. So you're going to love the 64-bit impact on the software. Okay, one of my favorite features about Integration Designer 11 is probably one of my least favorite features about ID9. Opening projects in ID9 is almost like trying to figure out how it works, what's going on. Take it from me, I do a lot of troubleshooting and help dealers do that stuff. And it takes me a while to investigate the project, figure out what's happening. Is it multi-room? Is it not? What sources are being used? Where? It's just very difficult. We have a structure, an actual structure in ID11 that tells us, hey, these are the rooms. These are the controllers in the rooms. These are the devices that are local to the room. And of course, we have a global area for shared resources and multi-room controllers. So simply by looking at this structure, after you become familiar with the software, and I mean partially familiar, you will know exactly what's happening in your systems, and it just makes troubleshooting and understanding a little bit easier. So that structure will help. All right. The way you build in our software is a big advantage. ID11 has the ability to add building blocks of your software, rooms, controllers, drivers, Z-Wave devices, infrared, a built-in library. We'll talk about that in a second. One-way serial. So now you're building in sources. And the cool part is when you add a source to your system here, I'll add a Samsung Blu-ray and get a little preview here of all the codes, which is pretty cool. It will create pages for you for that source device that are pre-programmed. It will let you route this to a port on your processor to ensure that you don't have to route individual commands. And it will put the entire code set in the software. So the building block, add workspace item is going to be a big advantage for you guys. We've already showed you when you assign drivers or IR codes or anything, it'll let you do things that ID9 won't do. So again, you add a device, click next, assign a port, it names the port for you, it routes all your commands to the port. One of the worst things about ID9 that bothers me is that you have to always worry, is my button routed properly? You have to right click and make sure it's routed. You never have to worry about that in the software. If you add this device using this port, anytime you bring in a command for that device, you're rest assured that that port is assigned. All right, here's something you'll love. Integration Designer 11 has an integrated driver store. So if I go here to my driver tab, I'm having a live interaction right now with RTI's cloud and seeing all the RTI drivers available. Now, we did this webinar the other day and someone asked, what about my own drivers? What about the drivers that I use that are not on the RTI driver store, like non-certified drivers, which we should have soon, third party. But what if I have my own personal libraries? I'll just select user here and you have your own user library. And now you can add whatever you want from your own personal account. So we didn't remove anything. We just added that great driver store that's integrated. Not only is it integrated, but if you select this, this will take you to your information immediately on your driver. So if I select one of these devices and click more information, this will pop up on the screen and I could go directly to our new driver store. Check this out. How cool is this? If I click on receivers, it'll show me all the different receivers, and this is probably too small. I'll make this bigger. So we've organized a new driver store for you through the software. Pretty incredible. All right. ID11 features a licensed IR database. So infrared, this database is, I guarantee you, what are the adjectives I could say? Accurate, complete, consolidated, consistent, anything you want in here. I don't care if you're from China or if you're from North Dakota. It has everything you need from this, and you'll find your devices. So if I click on a device, I get to see a little preview of it. If I search for, like, let's say a Samsung TV, I don't see every TV model. I just see most models here, and anything else I need to have. And this will give you the preview of all the codes to make sure you have anything. This is updated every time we update the software, so you never have to worry. And if you find something you come across and you need to learn it in or not, or something, first of all, let us know so we can add it, and we do that periodically. Or use your own little user database. I don't use anything else anymore, so you could navigate this to the mega list. No more opening the mega list and finding devices with 2 or 3 codes and everything else is missing or inaccurate or whatever. This is going to really ring your bell. So the integrated IR database as well. Coral template. I don't know if anyone has seen this template, but this is amazing. When you add devices to the system, you will get a unparalleled template that will set up everything for you. Not only the programming, but the page navigation. Here we're using list menus. You could also use something called button menus or go totally custom. And you now have the ability to get in and out of projects quickly if you want. Everything is done for you. I didn't touch this template. I didn't do anything. I just added devices. You have dashboards you could create. You want to aim your dashboard at a device? Simply select the layer, and we'll talk about layers in a bit, at the device you want to preview. I'm going to set mine to the RTI music player and hit OK. This will populate with all the RTI music. Aim it at any device you want. So new Coral template that's auto-programmed and professionally designed for you. All right, I'm exhausted already. We have a long way to go. ID11 features specific page templates for specific devices. So you're going to be pleasantly surprised at some of the similarities with ID9. Not that you shouldn't change your way of thinking. So here's our page wizard. Same thing in ID9. Select a controller, but now you're going to find specific devices. We've added specific devices for the common devices. Here's our Apple TV driver. Here, page template, I'm sorry. Here's an intercom. Here's lighting. We have a Roku player, RTI music, all done for you. Video games, keyboards, we have it all laid out for you, okay? So we've added page templates for all the popular devices. So when you add a controller to ID11, let's go and add a controller and show you how this works. Let's go and add a, let's put that in global. Well, I'm going to go and add an iPad or something. When you add a controller, you get the option for the type of menu you want. We have 2 types of menus, list menus or button menus. List menus are those lists I just showed you. They're automatically generated with your activities, and they'll know how to run the activity macro, which is programmed in a single location. ID9 guys are going to love that because we do system macros in ID9, and ID11 is no different now with system manager programming. So we also have button menus, which give you the ability to create, instead of using those list options on the left side, buttons, which you can customize with your own graphics and stuff like that. We'll talk about that in a bit. And you also have, between the 2 options, if the remote's big enough, dashboards. Now playing, light and climate, intercom and security. It's just awesome. It really is. All right. So it's going to really save you time to list menus. You want to get in and out of projects, we give you an express lane now. There's no excuse for, well, RTI is slow, I can't get in and out of project. Just add a list menu, and now all the work is really done for you. The Coral template's going to take care of 90% of the work you need. You'll program the macros in one location, not on the controller anymore. You don't have to do a thing with list menus. Button menus is an extra step, but still pretty fast, and you're on your way to the races. So that's a great option. All right. So when you program a template, when you add a device, one of the things that ID9 does, which is tough, is that you don't have any way of adding an actual device. So for example, if I go to my macro steps, I can see all my sources in here. I don't have to go wrangle through the entire mega list looking for IR devices or drivers. I have everything I need here. And if I click the little caret, I get to open up all my commands that you've been used to. IR devices, alphabetical order, accurate, consistent. They're all consistently named for the purpose of auto programming. Okay. All right. Feedback is auto programmed as well. Take a look at the RTI music template. I'll just do it for the KA11. This is all programmed for you. You have everything you need here. So let me just pull this down a little bit so I could show you our layer feature. Keyboards are done for you, and those will overlap the layer, so they'll pop up when you need them. You got the big cover art. You got the regular RTI music interface. And you could look over here and see that we have the regular music list, the queue, the favorites. We got you covered. Everything's programmed. You don't have to do a thing when you add this. I didn't touch this template, okay? So feedback is all okay, so when you add a device to the software, let's add a quick room. I'll just add a bedroom here. And now, once I've added this bedroom, if you add a device, like let's say a receiver or even a television, I'll just go and look for a Denon here. If I go and add the Denon, and we'll add zone 1 here to the bedroom area, you'll have this feature here called Set as Room Audio Source. That will punch through your volume for this room only on any sources that need to be controlled in this room, even if they're part of a matrix switch. If you select the bedroom now, the Blu-ray matrix switch entry, all your volume now will punch through if you set your device as a room audio source. So no need to go and wrangle around with the global routing, I believe I remember it's called in ID9. This will route specifically for your rooms. So one of the great features of the software that I kind of take for granted anyway these days. So when you create a project from scratch, you're automatically going to get and inherit some features. Like when we create an ID9 project, we probably add, by default, a weather driver, the clock driver, so we can give the client some cool things. That's all done for you in Integration Designer 11. We automatically add a weather driver and program it for you. So if I select the weather driver here do I have one? Yeah, of course I have one. It's in here. K11, T4X. This is all programmed for you and included in the driver. You don't have to do a thing here. Plus, you get the dashboard automatically added that'll give you the weather also, like a little dashboard. And these can be customized, of course. Oh, great feature there. All right. Here's something you just can't do in ID9. I don't care how it works. You're just not going to be able to do it. How about the ability? Oh, just let me click my Roku. It's even better. How about the ability to take any button or any part of the screen and just grab it by the frame handles and just make it wider or larger or resize this thing any size you want. Watch the graphic in the middle move with it. We'll talk about that in a second. So resizable graphics, not just the buttons, not just the feedback, not just the text boxes, all the framework as well. So you can completely bend this thing like Play-Doh in the software, and it's going to do whatever you like. No more taking it out of the software and resizing it. ID9 guys, I feel your pain. That's not needed anymore. So resizable graphics. We use the 9-patch format like Android developers use to build their graphics so that they can be completely resized in the software. So you're going to love that feature most because now you only have to maintain one graphic set, not 20 different resolutions. Here's a great feature in ID11. You go to get your bitmaps in the same exact place. Here's the difference. If you select icons, all you do is drag and drop these on a button and let go. It'll automatically now embed this in the button, and now it becomes part of the button. There's no need to go and overlay and activate, and now these will resize as much as possible based on the button size and the icon size. So we've completely taken the work away from having to overlay stuff and embed stuff and all that kind of thing. And you just, again, just drag and drop and replace. It's that simple. So drag and drop icons and embedding them inside a button, not possible in ID9, possible in ID11. How about even sliders? Let's go to our elements here and let's search for slider. How about customized sliders that can be resized as well? Well, I don't like this size of this slider here, so I'm going to make it larger. Or better yet, I'm going to make this horizontal slider vertical. I'll grab the frame handles and, whoops, sorry guys, I'm on my laptop, it's kind of hard to see. And just I can pull this down to make it a vertical slider. So that's the power of the software. I'm going to replace this with a red one. No problem. That's how easy it is. So customizable sliders and gauges. You want to select lighting in your system? Do we have any in here? Let's see. If I don't, I'll just add some real quick. I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to my driver tab here and I'm going to select a Lutron lighting system. We have tons of them. How about the Leap driver that will auto import all your lighting loads and get them auto programmed for you? The Caseta driver, let's say you want to add that and click next. Now it'll create a page template for you, any one you want. Let's just go with the lighting template. That makes a little sense, right? Add this device, and now you have that lighting template created. So if I go to the template now, and I select one of the page templates, I can go here now and resize my sliders just by grabbing the frame handles. You get the idea. I can pull this to any size I want, make it small, make it large, replace this with another color. You want to do RGB? No problem. We got you covered. It's simple. Okay. All right. Features white icons. I don't know if you noticed the white icons, right? Go back to our Roku. I'll pick on that all day. Let's click another. Yeah, we'll stay with the K11. You don't like the white color? You know, let's look for a Hulu icon. So you go and you bring in your Hulu icon. And you know what? This looks a little too vanilla for me. ID11 features an icon overlay in the color palette. We all know this from ID9. We just don't have the overlay color. So now I'm going to make this that familiar green color that Hulu uses. You could do that pretty easily, right? And not only can you manipulate the color of icons, but I could go here into my padding by going into the button properties like we have, just like in ID9, except you're going to see a new feature now with padding. Padding is the distance between the walls of the bitmap or the button to the icon in the middle. So if I reduce the padding, I make the button look bigger on the interface. Okay, so I can manipulate the size of the button, oops, just by adjusting the padding. I want to make this really small. You get the idea. So this is a great way for you to use reverse to normal state without having to, even if you have the same button. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the fonts and font sizes in ID11. You're not going to find these in ID9. I'm going to go to my Roku font here, and if you look for all the remotes, well, most remotes, 99% of them, we're going to have different fonts now. Montrasat, all in different colors. Roboto, Source Sans. These are common to other types of control platforms. So you're going to be able to really change your interfaces around just the look of them. We also have tighter bands and bigger ranges from 6 to 200 now. We've added tons of fonts and font sizes for you to really dress your interfaces up a little bit, okay? So you're going to love that feature. Here's a feature that ID9 guys are going to love. Let me select a controller. So we want to go now in ID9 and create backgrounds for these. We want to maybe change the background out. We have to drag and drop a background to every single page. Now, let's go to our backgrounds. Here's our backgrounds. Notice that it gives you exactly what you're looking for. That's because there's a filter button here that will filter out the backgrounds for you for this specific resolution. So in other words, if I unfilter this, I'll get every single background. And now I got to go and weed through these, finding what I want. Instead, I hit the filter, and now I can quickly, let's look for that purple one that I like. I can go here now and I can bring in a different background, and now I change this across the board. But wait, I want to make this Blu-ray something else. So I'll go into my page properties here, and instead of using a default background, I'll use a custom background here. And now I can bring in a custom background on this guy. While the rest are like this, my DVD will be like this. So those are some of the great features of the software. I'm not done yet. Let's talk about layers. So we know in ID9 we have a lot of trouble sometimes managing our pop-ups, building, having to copy toolbars. Wow, is that a problem? Now, like let's take our volume, for example. We don't really have toolbars in the Coral template, but we do have some items that are consistent from page to page. How about the volume here? The volume is located on every page, just like a toolbar would be in ID9 or even Apex. With ID11 now, you can go here into your layer. Because it's shared, I can unlock them, unhide them. And because this layer is shared, maybe I want to change this graphic. Let's go here. Let's delete this icon. And now let's substitute this with a different up look. Let's use this. Well, we'll make it like 36. So now I want to use this convention instead of the plus and minus. And as I go through my system, because that's a shared layer, you'll see it impact the entire project. So layers can be shared. You want to manage a pop-up for a device, simply go to the add layer. I want to do a mute pop-up. Okay, and now I can make it visible under certain conditions. What condition? Well, let's pick a driver. How about when let's see here. How about when our TV in our system is mute? Okay, and now that I have that layer here, I can create something on this layer. But if I only want to see this layer, I can get rid of all the other layers and just focus in on this mute pop-up layer. Let me draw now a pop-up button here that says system muted. Okay, and now I can go and click the next one here and go to my eligible layers that can be shared. Go to my mute pop-up. Oops, I forgot to make this shared. I apologize. In the properties, you do have to mark this shared if you want to use it across the interface. Now, when I go to my next page, I can go here and insert my shared layers here. Here's my mute pop-up. I can insert it here or to all my pages. And now every page will have a mute pop-up. And if I don't want to see that mute pop-up on every page, I can hide it by just hitting the little eyeball. Or if I want to change this across the board, let me unlock this. Let's make this thing look decent. Let's make the font different. Let's make this larger. Make it bold. Okay. Did I do that right? Let's make this bigger. Okay. Let's change this graphic. I'll go and change the fill color. Let's change the color of the text. Let's center this so I can center it on the screen by grabbing this, by using my selection commands and dragging this in the middle. And now I change this across the board, not just on my page, but on every page. So layers are a great feature. You're going to love this. It's going to allow managing your pop-up menus, your pop-up alerts, and everything a lot easier. So let's talk about macros and macro programming, since that's what we like to do. If you want to change them, first of all, the fact that you can actually click a button in ID 11 and see the macro or feedback programming is incredible. If I want to change this command, I can do it right here. Just go and change any command you want, whether it's a driver, IR device. I could even change the actual device itself and command. So everything's flexible in the macro window, okay? Even graphics can be programmed, okay? So real simple. So what about in ID9 when we want to create additional controllers? Now we have a feature that will actually let you clone a controller. So I can right click on this guy and make a clone of it. And let's call this, I don't know, let's call this Mom's KA11, okay? Now that I've made a clone out of this KA11, I don't have to worry now about programming this. This Mom's KA11 doesn't even give me access to the user interface. It just becomes a clone of this one so that if I make any changes, it affects both of them. And they'll have their own page jumps and work completely independently. Why? Because in ID 11, we don't use static page jumps anymore like we do in ID 9. Now, when we select a page, we use calling controller or all controllers. And now, whether the KA11 or the iPad or the clone of the KA11 runs this page link, it's going to jump to its own respective Blu-ray page, okay? Or any other page for that matter, okay? So that is an amazing feature. How many times are we changing dynamic links or static links in the ID9 software because our T4X jump is jumping within our iPad jumps? So no longer a concern. Okay. So we have a feature in our software known as tags. And tags not only allow us to get away with all this auto programming. Notice that these check marks, every single button has been auto programmed for us. We don't have to do a thing on this template. It's all done because of tags. Here's our tag. These tags are so easy to remember. The tag for left button is called left. The tag for menu is, you guessed it, menu. So these are logical, they're easy to remember. And the cool part is, if I go and change my tag name here to, let's say, power off, it'll populate the command automatically from the code set. Of course, I'll have to change this title, but that's easy to do, okay? So tags allow for auto program. They also allow for maintenance. Watch this. What if I wanted to make this display button do something else? Maybe I'll go to my code sets here and change this to send a display command. And then whenever I send a display command, it'll send another function. Maybe I'll need to send a, I don't know, function blue. Doesn't matter, whatever the command is, right? Now, if I go to my other devices controlling this Blu-ray player, let's just click on the Blu-ray. What do I do here? Yes, so this display now here does this. Now I go to my other controller. Let's go to our T4X and then go to our display button. And this will automatically change it here and everywhere else for that source device. So we have tags and macro levels, which allow you to take a tag and determine the functionality on it, how far it should reach in the interface. This is by far the most powerful feature of ID 11. You use tags for auto programming, for maintenance, for swapping devices, for advanced functionality. So we have something called System Manager now, right? So in the past, programming on buttons was a drag. Let's get this thing populated correctly. Programming buttons was a drag in the software. So now we have this feature here. Let's just go to the room menu here. You select rooms, you get your room menu. You select your source, you get your source menus. How does it know how to run the macro? We no longer program, even on custom templates or button menus, you no longer program on the controller anymore. So you program everything in one place called System Manager. If I click on the family room, I'll go and click on the activities, and this is how System Manager gets its start. Every activity has the ability, well, first I can either enable, let's take the Blu-ray, for example. I can enable it or disable it from the menu. So I disabled it and it goes to the bottom. So you have the ability now to figure out what you want to put in the list or not. You could categorize devices. Video, is it audio or is it other? Video and audio are obvious. Other devices are going to be home pages, lighting, climate, anything that doesn't require switching or commands to be run, just page jumps, right? And because System Manager knows what kinds of devices there are now, it could figure out in a room if a room is on or off, if a device in a room is on or off, if video in the room is on or off, if audio in the room is on or off, what source is selected, what source is in use. This is what System Manager can do. You could also name the items in the list the way they appear. You don't want it to be called TV family room? Well, let's make this appear as Watch Smart TV in our list menu, okay? So whether you're using list menus, button menus, or your custom interfaces, you'll program System Manager using this batch of different macros. Activity start will jump to please wait pages. Room on will turn on shared resources with audio and video devices, as long as they're shared. So when you walk in a room and turn on a receiver, it doesn't have to run that every single time. Video on only for the video devices, turning on sources, and finally, switching and jumping to the device, which is auto-programmed for you. You only have to program a lot of these once per room. And by doing it this way, System Manager knows what macros to send, what's in use. Managing toggle power is a thing of the past. This has its own built-in flagging system. No need to worry about anything. And you can always track through variables. Let's take a look at some of these variables because they're pretty incredible. Let's go to our, let's see, there's lots of ways to view variables, but I'll go here to my list of variables here. Let's take a look at some of the System Manager variables you could do. Well, let's not do a list menu. Let's do a visible state. It's a little easier. So here's System Manager, and this is all the tracking you can do per room. It can decide whether it can know when a family room is on or off, if the audio is on or off, the video is on or off, if a device is selected, if weather is selected or not selected. It also tracks what's in use. We'll get to that later. It tracks what room is selected in the room selection here, and that will allow you to create a macro in a room for every room. So the volume button, you select the family room, it'll point to the family room. You select the kitchen, now your volume button will point to the kitchen. Also, what sources are in use. Now you could report to the client and now playing, which will tell you what sources are in use all the time. There's also visible lists, which allow you to pop up your room sources and power one by one. And we built in all the functionality of the clock driver into System Manager. So no need to worry about downloading clock driver. We have everything in there from the clock driver, date, time, anything else. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. We'll get you out of here on time, I promise. Let's move on to the next feature, which is the ability to swap IR devices. So you're going to say to yourself, big deal. So you go to your cable, you could replace this. So I'll pick another cable box. Let's go and look for a Motorola. Let's look for a VIP Motorola here. Let's do QIP. Motorola QIP. And now if I go next, it'll let me cross-reference my commands from my first cable box to my new cable box and report any fallout. There's an enter command here on my original cable box, but none on the new one. So let's go and route that to cursor enter. There's no list. There's a list on my current one, but not on the new one. Well, let's round that out to Let's see what we have here. Menu DVR. Okay, so you could cross-reference these and map these. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, I can just do search and place in ID9. Well, that's not true. You have to have an exact code match, and it's very difficult to do them all. This will count for every single command. And how about the fact that you can swap IR devices with drivers and drivers with IR devices? So for example, my Roku player, I can swap this driver with an IR Roku device. It's simple to do in the software. Okay. Let's talk about bundles, because this is what ID9 guys are going to love. Okay. So you just spent, I don't know, 20 minutes customizing your Blu-ray player on all your devices. And now you've changed some programming around. You've created the Blu-ray that XYZ Audio and Video wants to use going forward. How do you preserve your work, whether it's a driver with multiple driver occurrences or zones, or if it's an IR device? How do you preserve your work so that you could re-import that device and not lose any functionality in the next project? Well, use the export bundle feature. This will allow you to take the Blu-ray bundle here and now pick the remotes you want. And you can do this with drivers, IR devices, any device. And this will allow you to export the interfaces for all of these sources. Now, once you bundle this out, okay, the next time it comes time to add your Blu-ray player, whether it's another room or another project, you're going to use the bundle tab, and you're going to use your bundle to add the Blu-ray to the device. And you could assign a port, whatever, to the system. And now this will import your entire code set, all your graphics, all your programming, anything you've done to customize, even if it's your own graphics and your own programming, as long as it's dedicated to the Blu-ray template. And now you save all that time and don't have to reinvent the wheel. Users will accumulate a large library of devices, allowing them to piece together projects in minutes and have it look exactly the way they intended to. Bundles is one of my favorite features, and I didn't do it any justice just now. So you have a lot of controllers in rooms, and you got to go into the properties, and for every controller, you have to go into your location, your time zone, and Wi-Fi networks. Now this is all done in one single location. So we'll all go to our system properties. We know where those are, and select our location, our clock, our Wi-Fi network. We'll add a quick network in here. We'll select our authentication, our encryption. Oops. Our key for our Wi-Fi password. And now, if we go to your controllers now, I'll go to the T4X now, hit properties. My 802.11, it's using the system properties. My clock is using the system properties. These are inherited throughout the project. And of course, if you want to put a specific network maybe for this controller, you could always uncheck this and put your own in here. Okay, so now you don't have to do things in all different places, which is really the theme of the software. Let's talk about viewports, okay? Because this is, I don't care how much you don't want to change, you're going to love this feature. So now with viewports, let's say I want to get, well, first of all, there's viewports that are going to be created automatically. Viewports are areas of the screen that you can flick to the right and go to different pages. So let's go into our viewport. This is 3 viewport screens. You have your, this, you have your functions, you have your icons here for favorites. So you can create viewports, and now the client can flick this area of the screen and not affect the rest of the screen. So for example, on my T4, on my, you could do that for iPads, RTI panel devices and Android devices. And you could do vertical and horizontal for iOS and just horizontal for KA panels and Android devices. So how does this work? Let's show you how this works. I'm just going to grab a pencil here. I'm going to select my viewport. I'm just going to draw it. Just going to draw it across the screen. Oops. Just draw your viewport. And now once you draw your viewport, you could take care of the resizing and all that. Once you edit your viewport, you could go here to your buttons here. Let's go to our icons. I'm sorry, let's go to my elements here. And let's look for buttons. These are all the buttons we have here. So you want to bring in some of these buttons here and resize them, you can do it. So now let's just bring in a series of buttons, okay? We're going to give you all the alignment tools to make these look beautiful that you're accustomed to in ID9. So now let's say we want to make this look good here. We'll use our alignment tools here. Oops. And now we can go here. We could just use our alignment tools. I can't get to it because my toolbar is in the way. Let me just move this real quick. Sorry for that. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my alignment tools. I'm going to distribute these across the screen. I'm going to level them out. And now I can, now I can go here and I can copy these in my next viewport screen. Paste these here. I can make as many of these as I want. Okay, I just did 3 of them. Sorry, my laptop's very sensitive to commands here. I'll go into my 4th one. And now all I need to do now is go here and I can drag in my icons from my different channels. Let's go to our channel icons TV and just drag these in, just drag and drop them and watch how they become part of the button. It's that simple. So you'll go and create these, you'll program these, and now the client will have the ability to gesture control this part of the screen and leave the rest of the screen intact. So you could really maximize your screen real estate. All right, we're almost done. Lutron Leap, we spoke about. The ability to import drivers is possible in our software. We don't have Lutron Leap for ID9. RTI Music, RTI's matrices. I want to add RTI Music to this system. Well, it's already in here. I don't know what will happen if I add this again, but if I click next now and add the server, it'll automatically find my devices and customize the driver for me to add my players. So now I can go and add my players here wherever I need to. And now that'll be fully customized for me. You don't have to configure driver properties or nothing. It's all done for you. Last, I want you to think about all the time that RTI can allocate if we weren't supporting ID9 to deliver the features and technology that you want for your use. So we're excited about the future here. We hope you're with us. Integration Designer is the future, and Integration Designer 11, which was our latest release, is really going to appeal to you. It's easy to build projects. Give it a shot. You don't have to be an expert on it. Just you can deploy a project without being an expert after you watch a few training pieces. And if you want to get more advanced, we have the training for you as well. So thank you guys so much for attending. We're going to go and just see if there's any questions that we need to answer and make sure that someone's asking, is a shared layer for specific devices only? No, you could share it across your entire iPad, no matter how many devices you have, like mute pop-ups or, special menus that only pop up when you hit a button, like volume control and all that stuff. So yeah, it's really awesome. Can you remotely program? Not yet. I mean, you could with VPN. A lot of people are doing that already. We don't have an official way though. Can you show how to add the command and graph data to the slider? Absolutely, my pleasure. Watch this. I'm going to go to my custom graphics here. I'm going to go to look for my slider again, and I'm going to bring in a black slider here. Now watch this. I'm going to program this. I'm going to program this is with a horizontal slider, okay? Maybe it's too small, I don't know. But whatever, you get the idea. So now if I want to program this slider, let me just move this window up here. If I want to program this slider, I have to go and give this a tag. So I'm going to call this volume, okay? Now, because I tagged it with a standard tag, it'll already program some of the room's volume for me. But let's go and program a room that we haven't programmed. Let's do the kitchen. So just like our software ID9, it works the same way. So now I'm going to go here and I'm going to go program a, well, you know what? Let's change this tag to really show you how this could work. I'm just going to call this XYZ, okay? And now I'm going to program a quick value and command on this thing. Let's program, I don't know, let's see what we got here. Works the same way. Let's go to RTI music. So we'll program for player 1. We could do progress. We could do, let's do volume. Here's our graph scale, okay? The scale doesn't matter. It's relative to the size of the graphic. And our command, we're going to go and do RTI music, volume, set volume for player 1, okay? Now, watch how cool this is. This is all programmed here with the XYZ tag. What if we went add another slider and we make this one horizontal instead, okay? We'll make it longer, but you get the idea. Now, watch when I give this the same tag name. It'll automatically program the same command. So tags combined with the custom sliders make it really easy. Now, if I want to go to my T4X, I want to bring in a slider over here. I'm just going to throw it over here. Completely resizable here also. XYZ. Done. Different slider, different shape, different color, done for you. Okay? If I were to create a simple project in 11, what are the initial steps? Good question. So I want to show you guys that because you deserve to see how that works. And I'll show you how easy this is. So watch this. I'm going to go here and I'm just going to navigate to my desktop so I don't clutter up my directories here. I'm just going to do an example file here. And I'm just not going to save my changes here. So let's create a brand new file here. First thing, you add your processor. All right, so I'll add my XP3 or whatever I have. And I'll add that to my system, okay? Now all these options will open up for you. The building blocks. You're going to add your rooms. You want to put in your own custom room name? Go ahead and do it. Call that man cave. And we'll add the man cave here. Now we go and add our controllers. You want to add a controller? Add a controller. Hey, I'll give you something you can see. Virtual panel. We'll go and add this virtual panel here. Now you get to pick what kind of menu you want. You want list menus with a now playing dashboard? Sure. Okay. And now this will create a weather page for you because it's already in the system and a home page for your man cave. All right, great. Now you could resize your virtual panel. I'll just leave that. It's fine. All right. So once you've added that, you go and add your devices. Let's go and add RTI music. So I'm going to select devices here. I'm going to add RTI music here. We'll add RTI music. We'll add that to the global area because we're just adding the server right now. The server is what's used to build the driver. And as I click add device here, this is going to reach out to the network and find any MS players. It found one, and now it'll add the players I configured for the MS3. Let's add player 1 to global, right? Watch this. We'll add it. Let's add player 2 to global. We'll add it. And we'll add player 3 to global. So we could use them no matter how many rooms we have, right? Now that we're done programming this, we're going to go to the man cave here and then program our activities for the players. Honestly, I don't really have to do anything in this case because I didn't add any receivers or anything else. So I'm going to go now and I'm just going to go and send this over to my device. And let's see what happens. XP3, boom, send. It's going to send this over to my XP3. By the way, if my firmware was out of date, it would be in red. You would see it in red. And now I'm going to send this virtual panel over. And I'm going to call this V panel. Oops. There we go. Yes, I want to run it now. We allow access. We'll give this a second to fill in as I'm on a slow network. I forgot to configure the weather driver for the zip code. Actually, let me do that now because it's bothering me. Go to my weather driver. Forgot to put the zip code in here. I'll put in my own zip code. Sorry, I just moved. I forgot what it was. I don't got to configure the RTI music. I could also configure, by the way, the dashboard for the what it shows on the now playing. So I could go to my now playing layer and aim it at any source I want. Let's add it at the global player one in global. And now this will inherit all the commands. Now I'm ready to sync this guy. So let's send this over. Okay, and now let's send this guy over. We'll call it vPanel again. And go. Okay, so now in a second or two, you'll see this auto-populate with the proper information. Wow, that was cool. All right, so now here's my temperature at home and everything else. If I want to select on the weather page, there's my weather. Here's my player one page. Let's move on to the next page here. Let's select Pandora. Let's select stations here. Let's move down a little bit here and go for Prince Radio and play this station. Okay, so now that will play. I could also look at my music queue, my favorites if I want to save any. And now this is playing. And now let's go down now. Let's go up to my, I didn't do my home page, so I'll just do this. I didn't add my home page to my system manager. So now you'll see how this works. That's how fast this software is. I'm not kidding. I'm not hyping this up. It's amazingly fast. You're going to love it. If you don't believe me, just try it. And I'm sure you're going to, there are things that you're going to say, well, I miss this or I miss that. But honestly, I am really impressed with how fast you can build systems, how beautiful they can be, and how much work is done for you. But the features really drive this as well. So again, you add your master processor, you add your rooms, you add your controllers, you add your source devices, you program them, you program each room in System Manager, and now you're done. And if you add remotes, you're done if you add list menus. If you add button menus, you just got to tell the button menu to run the macro from System Manager. But you don't program anymore on buttons. Even if you bring in a bar interface for a floor plan, you just tell it to run the System Manager. And now you can program 15 iPads, 20 KX10s, 30 virtual panels, and you don't have to do a thing. Okay, so that's how fast it is. What else do we have for questions? Do we have anything else? Does weather work for Canada? Definitely. Of course, weather works for any country. So if you go to your weather driver and you go to your driver properties, instead of using a zip code, and you can see when you select this, if you look here on the bottom, it'll say enter initial location, zip code, city, country, longitude, or latitude. So you can enter all that in. And then you can even select different metrics as well. Okay. So yes, any place in the world you can do weather. When you add a source, does it automatically add it to the source list? Yes and no. So if I click on the man cave here, it'll do a good job of enabling the ones it should enable. But here I wanted to put a home page in that, and I forgot. So you would have had to have checked that off. It'll also categorize these really well, but I didn't want to call this player one in my list. I should have just called this, listen to music one, or how about listen to dad's music? Okay, listen to mom's music. And because these are global devices, we've put them in global because it says global right here. We don't have to go and rename these for every single room now where they run. This is all done for me. So we're getting there. Hey, look, this is the first version of Integration Designer 11, and we hit a home run. Maybe we could steal home with the next two versions, but we're at our infancy now, and now we have an express lane in our software, which I just demonstrated. I just programmed 3 RTI music servers in less than 2 minutes. So you can Of course, we didn't program any macros, but that's all simple and it's all done in one place. And the best part is once you program activity start, room on, video on, you don't have to program these in the rest on the rest of the, and it tells you exactly what these things need to do. Like it tells you what this is for. This macro does this. This is what it tracks. And it only sends these when it needs to send these, even power. By the way, System Manager will manage situations where you're sharing sources. So let's say you're watching a Blu-ray in a kitchen while someone else is watching the same Blu-ray in the bedroom. Maybe that's a bad example, but, and now you shut off the kitchen. It's smart enough to know someone else is using it, so it won't shut it off. So now you can manage your sources the right way because you have the built-in intelligence of System Manager. So lighting now has specialized tag names. And if you're using Neutron Leap, all you do is you aim the driver at the lighting load that got imported, and it will automatically update the name of the load, the slider, the level, or whatever else you have. You have to have a room to have activities, or you just do everything under global? Well, it's possible that you could add everything to global, but you'll miss out on some special features that will come into play when you create rooms, like punch throughs for specific volume and lots of other features. Plus, you could have when you add a controller to the global area, you're saying you're a multi-room controller, and I'm turning on some special functionality for you that's not available on individual room controllers. One of the special pieces of functionality is the ability to select a room and now program multiple macros on a button that are designed for that room. So for example, volume button. If I select a family room, it's going to point to the family room volume. If I select the kitchen, it's going to point to the kitchen volume. If you don't create rooms, you're going to miss out on that. So I don't know why you would do that global thing, but it's certainly possible. Can we see an iPhone? Yeah. So now that I've already programmed my virtual panel, let's just add an iPhone. I'm going to go to my controllers. I'm going to add an iPhone X or newer, whatever you have. I could either add it to global or man cave. It doesn't make a difference. I could do list menus, button menus, different dashboards. Let's do a light and climate list menu. I'll just call this Instance iPhone. Okay, and I select the pages I want. I want a home page, I want a weather page, don't need a server page, and so on. And add this device. Done. I don't have to do a thing. I could launch this iPhone now and do the same thing it did on my virtual panel. Here's my home page dashboard. I'll try to make this a little smaller. I'm sorry, I'm on a laptop. Here's my home page dashboard. Here's my lighting dashboard. By the way, if you don't have lighting in your system, you could still use this to control, house themes like, maybe music levels, dinner or something like that. You could turn on music at a certain level. So you don't need to, and then you have temperature if you have it. Here's our list menu for our activities, for our rooms. Here's our power off menu. It'll turn off the AV in a room, and it's smart enough to know if it has a special command here that says room off, all rooms off. It'll use the System Manager to turn off any rooms that were turned on at one point. Weather, RTI music, completely programmed. It looks a little jumbled because of all the layers, so I'll make sense out of it here. Here's our large cover art. When you press the cover art on our Coral template, it gets bigger. It looks like this. And then here's our keyboard, all programmed for you. And you don't need to do anything. And you have the two other players. So it's all done for you. It's all done. I can't tell you how quick it is. What else we got? KNX integration. We have it. I just don't know much about it because of being in the US, an ignorant US guy. But we do have it. Ask Cyril Vergely about it, or Clive, who's a new dealer experience or system engineer in Europe, but they'll show you a demo of that. I'm sorry, I couldn't explain it well. Well, we have it. How come so many of the slider options will not work? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Sliders work great. I don't know what you mean. Can you still add an IR device that's not in the database? Sure. Go and learn in your codes, right? And then put your code set somewhere. Here's where it looks for code sets, by the way, set directories. Here's where it's going to look for your own personal libraries. Put your mega list in there. Put whatever you want in there, okay? Now, when you go to your Ed workspace, which is just a wizard, really, you're going to go to your infrared tab, and instead of using the built-in system database, you're going to navigate to your own user CML. I don't really have one, but if this user CML had a bunch of codes in it, they would show up here, okay? You could use your own, no problem. We didn't take away anything. RA2, you need to add a separate tag. Nope, you don't have to do that. You just aim it at the, oh, for RA2, I'm sorry. Yes, for RA2, I don't know if we're going to import that into Leap. I don't know much about the integration protocol. I don't remember it at least. So right now you do have to tag and code those up, but you can, thanks to tags and macro levels, it makes it much easier. You don't have to do it once. Someone's saying I asked that question about the global area because I don't have rooms, because I don't need rooms for a commercial space training room. Sure you do. It's called training room. And if your client decides to call you back now and add another room, it would be a real drag. So create the room called training room and you're good. Major differences between Apex and 11. We had a course on that. So check out the video on our training page. Specifically, if you go to libraries and search slider. So if I go to my elements here and I search slider, I find my sliders. If I find gauges, these are all scalable, by the way. I don't know what you mean. We can take it offline. Anything else, guys? Yeah, the sliders work on almost all of our controllers. I'm not sure if it doesn't work on some of the small entry level ones like the T2i or the Pro 24Z, but it works on everything else. Okay, looks like we don't have any more questions. Of course, if you do, please feel free to email us. It's training@rticontrol.com. Happy to answer your questions. And also, you're not alone in your transition, as we want to help you do it. So if you need help in your transition from ID11 to ID11 from ID9, we're happy to, we're in your corner. We want to make sure that you're comfortable and you have the resources available for you already. Tyler is working hard on getting you guys all the resources you need. And yeah, we're excited. We're excited about it. And we want to make sure that we give you guys the fastest and best way to please customers. And that's what we've done with Integration Designer 11. Okay, so thanks so much for attending. We'll see you out there. And again, we'll have training videos up soon. We already have a few of them, so I will go and take those now. Tyler, if you want to comment on what we have available now.
Yeah, we've got a both a fundamentals base and a level 1 programming base that'll walk you through step by step a single room type of solution. Those are on RTI Excel now. So go ahead and take those, and it'll walk you through, adding the proper devices, getting devices configured. So for example, when you have your, if you're getting devices put on a network, you go into the configuration where to do that, how to add IR devices. It's a very simple one-room solution, but comprehensive enough. And then, as Vincent said, we're working on additional ones that continue that education in terms of a multi-room. So look for that coming out very, very soon.
Yeah, I think it's best to start out as slow as possible and as small as possible, just so you get the concepts. Because honestly, ID11 is so much easier than ID9. It's just a matter of kind of tuning out try not to, oh, this is how I do it here. How do I do it here? Try to get that out of your mind. Pretend you're learning a new software and you'll be pleasantly surprised about the similarities that you'll find. But there are new concepts. So go about it like you're learning a new software and you'll make an easy transition. All right. Thank you guys so much for attending. We really appreciate your business. And if you have any questions, please give us a call. Thanks so much, and we'll see you soon.